Hi, Andrew Kaufman here with my week 2 assignment submission. Apologize for my presentation environment. There's too much chaos and distractions going on in my house right now, so I am here because it's quiet and not as distracting. But that's not important. Women in Western traditions are. So the first article that I read was Women in Ancient Christianity. And what I found to be an important detail is that how the general concept of women being the first supporters of Christianity and supporters of Jesus and took care of Jesus uh, before males, so it claims. I think that was an interesting detail, along with the Gospel of Mary, and how the role of leadership, or the definition of leadership, should be perceived, which was it said something around leadership should be based on spiritual maturity, regardless of male or female, and I do agree with that as well. Um, what the second article that I read was women in Judaism, or the ritual bath, and what I found to be interesting about that, and I agree, and what I disagree with, is that they put menstruation and childbirth in the category of impurity, which they also spoke of coming in contact with a corpse, death, and serious illness. And why I found that to be interesting, and something that I don't particularly agree with, because menstruation in particular is a natural body function. And when I think about that, I wonder, what is a natural body function of a male that would be considered as being impure? Um, so that kind of struck me as a little prejudice, in that the ritual bath, to become pure, the bath was made for, or a ritual to cleanse the body and clean the body, and by law this ritual had to be practiced. However, in the category of creative practices, uh, Janice Rubin's the Mikvah Project talked a lot about putting up pictures, and uh, discussed kind of like bringing more of a feeling of God's presence, and not so much of a having to conform to the feeling of conformity to the practice. And I thought that was interesting, and I do agree with that. A more liberal approach to tap more into the to being more connected and in communion with God, as opposed to do something that you just don't want to do, or something that you have to do. The final thing that I looked at was the video, and the video was pretty straightforward, that the Taliban is taking over there, and they're trying to create peace with war, I guess, or yeah, with just creating more conflict. I mean, and celebrating kind of death. I mean, they're bringing women into a stadium to be shot, to be murdered in front of thousands of people. No, that's not going to equal peace. And and there's a connection there in the introduction on Blackboard. It says that those who do not agree with the norms eventually separate themselves from these belief systems, and become either non-religious, or form renewal or reform movements. And we could see that in the video. There were small groups of teachers, people in educating and